Hey, this is Judge Waits bringing you some Iron Banner sniping. I've got the Predator's Revenge or something like that. It is the Raid Sniper from the first Vault of Glass. I wouldn't recommend actually using it for sniping, but I was working on my Thorn Bounty, and if you know that one, you have to get Void kills in the Crucible or in the Iron Banner. So that was my only Void sniper rifle, so I had to go with it. But you're not going to see anything really great in this montage or this clips or this video or anything like that, because I'm not the greatest person when it comes to sniping, but I had fun trying it, and this is probably the only map that I can actually decently put out any sniping. But don't want to talk about that. Instead, want to talk about American Sniper. I don't know if you've seen that movie. If you've not, you probably want to mute me right now because I'm going to put up some spoilers, or I'll try not to. But just wanted to talk about that movie because, man, it was pretty darn good. And I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I know there was some controversy surrounding it. You had people like Michael Moore, who I think he had a personal life instance where somebody that he knew actually got killed by a sniper. So he was calling Chris Kyle and all snipers cowards, which, you know, oh man, that is pretty sad, pretty low, especially considering Chris is dead now. So for him to say that, you know, I didn't really appreciate that. But I don't really appreciate a lot of things that guy says. But I can understand it, I guess, if he's had that experience in his life, or somebody that he knew, or somebody that he knew died from a sniper, you know. But I tell you what, if I'm going to go into battle, I'd want somebody, you know, providing overwatch for me. So I'm not going to get into that. I know Chris did call people, or the people that he was fighting, savages, and that is not the PC correct term to use for people and everything today, but you got to understand his point of view. If you're dealing with this for 4 tours and you're seeing your friends die, you're probably going to have some harsh words for the people that you're fighting against. I mean, look at what we see in the civilian life. You know, 21 Christians get kidnapped and beheaded. Somebody's lit on fire and burned to death. You know, these are the things that we see, and just from those things, you know, I could see calling Islamic extremists, we're not talking about everybody in Islam or anything like that, but these extremist savages, you know. But maybe you disagree with that. Let me know what you think about that. But, you know, I know there were things that were said about this movie, but overall, what I came away with was a fresh appreciation for what the soldier goes through and what their family goes through. You saw the constant conflict between Chris and his wife and his family. You know, here Chris is, he wants to be there for his friends and help them out and protect them. You know, he's got that instinct, but he also wants to be there for his family. And, you know, and here's some couple instances where I get sniped. This guy was good, a lot better than me. He just nails me pretty good. But, you know, you see that conflict, and, you know, his wife, she needs him at home. She needs him to help raise those kids. And, you know, you see him being just torn with that. So I got a fresh appreciation for that. And let me say this, if you're in the military, especially if you have a family, I just want to say thank you for that sacrifice alone, you know, and what your families say. You want to say thank you to the families for sacrificing you and letting you be where you are today. So, you know, definitely a fresh understanding for that. I also got a nice understanding, or a good look at what it means to transition back home. You know, you think about that. You know, people go from being in war 1 minute to flying home and trying to take on a civilian life. And, you know, I never really thought about how crazy that transition would be, or what you'd be thinking about when you got back home. So that was really interesting, especially when he was like, you know, I come back home, you know, he comes back home from war, his buddies are dying, people are dying over there on both sides and everything like that, and then he comes back home and people are just having picnics, or I forget what he said. You know, you think about that, it's like, you know, for me, being over here in the States, it's kind of something that's out of sight, out of mind. I don't even think about it. But, you know, these guys are living with life and death every day, and then they come back home and we're not even talking about it. We're talking about all this trivial, stupid stuff over here and not even giving it a second thought. So that was just interesting to me. I know when the movie got out, it was like really quiet. I think a lot of people, it made them think and you know, examine some things. So for that respect, I like the movie. I will say this, it has a lot of swearing, a lot of interesting things being said, but at the same time, I think it's honest, and probably pretty typical of a lot of things. So the swearing didn't bother me, but if you are bothered by that, you know, you probably don't want to see this movie because there is a lot of it. But overall, man, I really like the movie. Like I said, it just really got me thinking about some things. You know, this movie wasn't about war, it wasn't about glorifying snipers saying, you know, this guy was the most bad mambo jumbo person or anything like that. Instead, it just kind of showcased what soldiers go through both, you know, home and abroad and with their families. And I just have a new appreciation for that. So thank you to everybody that serves, you know, no matter what country you're in. You know, you sacrifice, your family sacrifice, and I appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. But let me know what you guys thought about the movie if you saw it, and also let me know what you guys thought about my sniping. But guys, this is where I'm going to end it. As always, though, take care and God bless.
Zone A neutralized. Zone C lost. Zone A secure. Enemy captured Zone C.